Hi guys, and welcome back to Ask a Lawyer channel. Hope you are having a lovely day. Today, I'm back with 4 new stories for you, all about weddings. The first one is about OP's twin sister, who is having her wedding 2 months before OP and copied all OP's ideas for the wedding. Yes, even the cake and the dress. Let's go to the story and hear about crazy OP's twin sister. And of course, listen till the end to hear my insights. Enjoy the stories, guys, and don't forget to like and subscribe. And of course, don't be shy to leave a comment. So I, 27 female, got engaged last December and told my family shortly after. My twin sister proposed to her boyfriend the next day. Throughout our wedding planning, whenever I said something me and my future wife are doing for our wedding, it feels like sis has immediately replied, "Oh, what a coincidence. I'm doing the exact same thing." So far, we have exactly the same cake, centerpieces, flowers, venue, caterer and menu, outfits, and duck knows what else. When the first couple things were exactly the same, I was like, okay, little weird, but just a coincidence. But then I realized that after she picked out a ruched satin ball gown in ivory for her wedding dress, she switched to a full-sleeve lace dress with a high-low skirt and sweetheart neckline, which is identical to my wedding dress. And when I say identical, the only difference between these two dresses is that hers is in ivory and mine is in cream. And she made the switch after I picked out mine, and she came with me to the store to help me pick. So she didn't just know I'd chosen that dress, she helped me choose it. Her wedding is a month before mine. Hers is in November, while mine is in December. We both still have time to change stuff around, and we're told as long as we made the choices before we got to the 1-month countdown, it would be fine. And after the countdown, it was still possible, just trickier. I told my sister that I'm fine with the centerpieces, venue, caterer, and menu being exactly the same. And I am willing to change my cake so she can keep hers as it is. I'll even change the color scheme and let my sister have navy and change mine to a dark red or something. But she has to change something. She hasn't had the dress tailored yet, and I have, so she can easily return or exchange it. If she can't or doesn't want to, then change the cake, as she has time. Or the color scheme, or the flowers, as she has time to change those too. But give me something from my wedding so I don't look like I'm copying her. Sis says I'm being a bee. I don't own or have a claim to any of these things. The cake comes from a bakery we loved when we were kids. The venue is one of the nicer wedding spots in town. The caterer, flowers, centerpiece are all decided. And after seeing the dress on me, she wanted to see how it would look on her and loved it as much as I did. She argues that as my wedding is a month after hers, I am the one who should change things as I have more time. She also says that the closer we are to the deadline, the more expensive it will be to change things. So while I can still switch stuff around for free, she will have to, at the very least, pay a fee to change things, and it's unreasonable of me to expect her to alter her wedding. My father is on her side due to the timing and a few well-timed tears from sis. And my brother says she's not going to back down and it would be easier on everyone to just let her have this. Dad is ill, not severely, but he's had a few health scares, has high blood pressure, and he can't deal with any upset in the family. I moved nearer to him to help look after him, and this is just causing unnecessary drama that could actually put his health at risk. Am I the idiot here? Info. I gave sis some of the information because she's meant to be my maid of honor. Edit. The stuff she's picked is oddly specific. It's not just the identical dress. The flowers, for example, were a huge thing for us. On our first date, I made a joke about how she couldn't get gayer, and she gave me a bouquet of rainbow roses. They're made by splitting the stem and putting each part of the stem in a different color dye. So for our wedding, with some advice from the florist, we went for bouquets of white roses with a single rainbow rose in the middle. And the buttonholes are white roses for everyone but my future wife, who has a rainbow rose. My sister, who doesn't even like roses, and her groom, who is a raging homophobe, have no attachment to these flowers. But they are having these exact flowers in their wedding. It's too weird to be a coincidence. I think OP is not a bee, but her sister is a big one. Yes, it will look like OP copied her sister's wedding while it was her sister who copied it. Sadly, I don't think OP is going to win this one. In my opinion, OP needs to start making changes to her wedding. Change the kind of cake, the colors, the decorations. Change it all. and tell her sister nothing. Make the wedding even better and get an even nicer wedding dress. Recently, my boyfriend, 28 male, and I, 27 female, have been discussing the topic of marriage because we've been together almost 4 years. My older, 30 female, sister, E, is one of my best friends, so I was talking to her about this. This is where the conflict is. My sister had her wedding a few years ago, and our mom took total control. She picked out my sister's dress, dictated the venue, picked out the church, everything. Our mom acted like more of a bridezilla than my sister did. Our mom even picked out a super fancy mother of the bride dress that was above and beyond the bridesmaids' dresses. It was a lot. After the debacle, I decided to never have a wedding. I always wanted to get married, but my mother's actions made me decide to just not have a wedding, ever. I even told E this about a year after E's wedding because it was still crazy to me how E didn't get to have the wedding of her dreams. After my boyfriend and I had a serious conversation about getting married within the next year or two, I'd seen him looking at rings when I came home from work because I walked up behind where he was sitting to give him a hug and he was looking at them on his phone. I was excited and told my sister. My sister immediately started talking about wedding plans and everything I should do. I don't even have an official engagement yet, so I don't want to think about planning beyond vague ideas of what would work for me and my relationship. But E was telling me that I absolutely have to wear a ball gown or a fit and flare type of dress, that my bridesmaids must wear a jewel tone because it would make them really stand out, that my dress just has to be cream or ivory because I'm too fair-skinned for pure white. She went so far as to tell me the venue, DJ, and photographer I have to have, all of which were her first picks that my mom said no to when helping to pay for E's wedding. I flat out told E that I just want a simple outdoor wedding with just my boyfriend and the officiant near a lake with some pretty pictures being taken. I don't want a big dress or a venue party. I want a private ceremony with a big potluck at one of the facilities in our area that looks over the lake for just the immediate family and friends. She told me that my idea was dumb and we'd be denying both families a chance to truly celebrate a wedding. I told her that just because our mom took over her wedding and ruined her plans, it doesn't mean she gets to do the same to me so she can try to relive her own wedding through me. Our other sister, 29 female, M, said I was too harsh and couldn't see that E just wanted me to feel super pretty and special on what will be a big important day. M told me that I really hurt E's feelings and basically said that E's wedding sucked, even though I never actually said those words. Am I an idiot for saying that my sister is trying to relive her wedding through my future wedding because she was telling me everything she thought I should do, even though she knows I don't want what she wants? ETA. My idea of a potluck is to supply the main dishes and some sides, as well as any desserts and the wedding cake. Then, we'd ask our families to bring a side with the recipe, completely optional recipe, if they'd like to bring a dish. They won't be required, and we definitely plan to have enough food for everyone regardless of any potluck dishes that are brought. Our families are very different with food, but they're both very, very good at cooking food. We thought this would be a fun and interesting way of having our families come together and blend into one on our wedding day. Of course OP is not an idiot. It's her wedding and she needs to have it the way she wants it. What she said to her sister is 100% truth, so sister should accept that and not be insulted. If she couldn't stand up for her dream wedding, she shouldn't be putting OP off her dream wedding. There's nothing wrong with her giving OP suggestions, but she is definitely subconsciously trying to manicure OP's future wedding into the one she would have picked for herself had OP's mother not taken control, which is not okay. In wanting to give the families a magnificent wedding to celebrate, she's also trying to deprive OP of the wedding she truly wants, even if she's not consciously doing so. I think OP needs to stick to her guns. My sister was scheduled to get married summer 2020. That's no longer possible, so they've pushed it back to August 2021. My wedding was set for September 2021. There's about 4 weeks between the dates. I didn't think this was a big deal, but now I'm being pressured by my sister, our parents, and various relatives to change my date because when my sister rebooked her wedding, she ended up with the same venue as me. So now we're getting married 4 weeks apart at the same place. So people are bound to compare, and she doesn't want her wedding put up against mine. I've said no. I don't really give a crap if people compare weddings. What I care about is mine was booked first on our anniversary, not to mention being booked in a week I have my son. I split custody with my ex. So I want it to stay that way. Sister calls, reiterates her reasons for wanting it changed, that people will compare us. I say that people comparing us isn't something I'm worried about, and if she's worried, she can change hers. She says she can't get an earlier date and doesn't want to push hers further back, as she's already been engaged for 2 years and will have been engaged for 3 by the time her wedding comes up, while I've only been engaged for 1 year, so I should be the one to push mine back. I then said that the length of her engagement or her fear that people will compare us isn't something I'm worried about, and her issue with the dates is not my issue, and therefore not my problem. I'm now getting more messages from the same people saying I should postpone, this time saying that I don't have to postpone, but telling my sister it's not my problem was an a-hole thing to say, and I should at least apologize for saying it's not my problem. Am I the a-hole? I don't think OP is an a-hole. It is really not her problem. Why should she sacrifice her wedding for her sister's? It's awfully entitled for her to demand OP reschedule hers, given OP's was scheduled first. She's the one having a problem. She can pick a different venue or reschedule her own date. There's no rule that says you can't be engaged for more than 2 years. Little backstory. The cousins are actually my godfather's sons, identical twins. But our parents were super close, so us kids called their parents aunt and uncle. The twins were the same age as me and were more like brothers to me. They also had a little sister 4 years younger than us, and she was the sweetest thing, but the stereotype redhead. They moved away because of my godfather's job when we were 12 to another province, and we called and wrote often. They moved before the days of emails, and I got to spend a summer with them 1 year. A few years after they moved, my godfather and his wife split up, and he remarried 2 years after, and my cousins didn't care for her much, but I had just figured it was the whole kids not liking stepmoms. Anyways, this was the summer we were all 24, and I found out that both my cousins were getting married and decided they would have a double ceremony, and I was invited to the wedding. I had to pay for my own plane fare, but my godfather said I could stay in their spare room. He even planned it so I would be there for the week and leave the day after the wedding. I was super excited. This was the time I was traveling for something other than for Army cadets, and was looking forward to sightseeing with my cousins. I would finally get to meet this stepmom and was thinking she can't be all bad. Boy, was I wrong. We'll call her Entitled Stepmom, ESM. The minute I stepped off the plane and hugged the twins, she seemed to take an instant dislike to me. She glared at me the whole time we were introduced, and when we went to get my bag, heard her muttering about my slutty top. It was a tank top with a sheer top over top and berated me for actually traveling alone. WTF. I didn't say anything, but just caught up with my godfather and cousins over lunch, and we went back to their house. The following morning, I gave my dad a call to let him know I had got to my destination okay and that the trip was fine. 24, I know, but my dad always worried when any of us traveled. I was out on the dock using my cell so I wouldn't disturb anyone because it was early and I had jet lag. As I hung up, I see the ESM standing in the kitchen glaring at me and demanded to know what I was doing. So I told her I had just called my dad, and she accused me of lying and trying to steal her stuff. I brushed it off. She had been grumpy since the twins revealed their plan for the wedding, a hand fasting, and somehow she blamed me for this. She was a super hardcore Bible thumper. It came to a point that she ended up changing the accommodations for me to stay at a nearby hotel, and her sister, who had been staying there, would stay with them instead. I didn't care. The place had a pool, and my cousins and their fiancés came over a lot over the next 2 days to swim, or would meet me there to go sightseeing. The brides wanted to get to know me better, and they were so much fun to hang out with. They even invited me to the bachelorette party, and we had a blast. ESM was not happy that she didn't get invited. We didn't want to deal with her attitude that night. But the twins' mom came with us. She was always great to chill with. Day of wedding. Stuff hit the fan. ESM was nearly late for the wedding and had shown up all dressed in black. I don't mean a classy black dress. No. She was dressed for a bloody funeral. Right down to a hat with a veil. She even tried to force the justice of the peace to get lost and had dragged the priest from her church to the ceremony, telling him that the twins had changed their mind. I wasn't in the room when the lot of them started screaming, but boy, I would have given anything to be a fly on the wall. The priest departed and the ceremony went along. It was lovely. During the reception, which was held at a lakeside pier, she was completely wasted and started ranting that her grandchildren would be bastards because they would be born out of wedlock. The twins' mom finally had enough and walked up to the ESM and slapped her so hard she stumbled back and fell into the lake. Fortunately, the water wasn't deep and she stomped out, called a cab, and left. I didn't see her for the rest of the trip, thank God. My godfather divorced her 6 months later. This was the last straw, and he told her to pack up and leave the next week. That made me laugh so hard, guys. Damn, slapped so hard that she fell into the lake. That's awesome, and it makes you wish you could make memories into pictures. But I'm glad she is out of your family's lives. Reading stories like this makes me realize how boring my own family is.